saw the title, "Stop taking magnesium glycinate immediately if you're making this mistake." And if you're being honest, your first reaction was probably disbelief. You may have thought, that doesn't make sense. Magnesium glycinate is supposed to be gentle. Doctors recommend it. Everyone says it's safe. Some of you may have even felt annoyed, assuming this was just another exaggerated health warning designed to scare people for clicks. That reaction is completely understandable. In fact, that exact reaction is the reason this video begins the way it does. Let me be absolutely clear right from the start. Magnesium glycinate is not poison. It does not suddenly turn toxic inside your body. This video is not here to demonize a supplement that has helped millions of people, but here is the uncomfortable truth that almost no one explains properly. When magnesium glycinate is taken at the wrong time, in the wrong context, or alongside the wrong things, it can create reactions that feel frighteningly opposite to what you were promised, and those reactions are real. If you're watching this because something doesn't feel right, because instead of calm, you're feeling restless. Instead of better sleep, you're waking up at 2 or 3 in the morning with your heart pounding. Instead of relaxation, you feel wired, anxious, or unsettled. This video is for you. The strong language in the title is not meant to panic you. It's meant to interrupt you. It's meant to stop you mid-scroll long enough to consider a possibility that most people never think to question. What if the supplement you trust isn't failing, but the way it's being used is quietly sabotaging it? Here's why this matters so much. Magnesium glycinate has earned a reputation as the gentle one. It's known for being easy on the stomach, calming for the nervous system, and supportive for sleep, muscle relaxation, and stress management. Because of that reputation, people naturally lower their guard around it. We stop asking questions. We take it casually alongside dinner, alongside other supplements, right before bed. Sometimes with tea or coffee earlier in the evening. We assume that if anything goes wrong, the cause must be stress, aging, hormones, or just one of those things. That assumption creates a dangerous blind spot. Not dangerous in the dramatic sense of instant harm, but dangerous in a slow, confusing way. The kind of danger where your body starts sending distress signals, and you don't realize the supplement you added to help is part of the problem. And here's the key point that most people never hear. Supplements don't work in isolation. They work in context. Your body is not an empty container waiting politely for magnesium to arrive. It's a complex system full of other minerals, foods, fluids, medications, and ongoing biochemical processes. When magnesium enters that system at the wrong moment, it can be blocked, redirected, or rendered ineffective. When that happens, your body doesn't calmly ignore it. It reacts. Sometimes that reaction shows up as digestive discomfort. Sometimes as jitteriness or internal restlessness. Sometimes as a racing heart, shallow sleep, or sudden nighttime awakenings that make no sense. Especially when magnesium was supposed to help you relax. This is why the title says, "Stop taking magnesium glycinate immediately if you're making this mistake." Not because magnesium itself is dangerous, but because continuing to take it the wrong way can keep reinforcing the very symptoms you're trying to escape. Think of it like this. Water is essential for life, but timing and context matter. Drinking water is healthy. Drinking large amounts at the wrong moment, in the wrong situation, can make you feel sick, nauseous, or dizzy. The water didn't change. The context did. Magnesium works the same way. When it's absorbed properly, it supports calm, stability, and deep rest. When it's blocked or mishandled, the body experiences imbalance. Imbalance always triggers stress responses. That's where the phrase deadly toxin comes in, and it's important to understand what it actually means here. We are not talking about literal poisoning. We are talking about how something beneficial can feel toxic when it disrupts the body instead of supporting it. People describe it the same way over and over again. I feel off. I feel wired but tired. It feels like my nervous system is buzzing. I don't feel like myself. Those experiences are not imaginary, and they are not rare. The problem is that most people never connect the dots. Magnesium is considered safe, so it's rarely questioned. Symptoms get blamed on stress, poor sleep habits, or age-related changes while the real issue continues unnoticed. This video exists to break that cycle. We're not here to scare you. We're here to give you clarity. By the end of this video, you'll understand why magnesium glycinate can feel calming for some people and deeply disruptive for others. Why timing matters more than dosage in many cases, and what simple change can turn magnesium back into the supportive tool it's meant to be. And one more important note before we go further. This video is educational, not a substitute for medical advice. If you're on prescription medications, have kidney conditions, or complex health issues, always confirm supplement timing with your healthcare provider. That said, understanding these principles can help you have far better conversations and far better outcomes. So if you've ever taken magnesium glycinate and thought, "Why do I feel worse instead of better?" Stay with me, because the mistake is common, the solution is simple, and once you see it, everything that follows will finally make sense. Before we go any further, there is something incredibly important that needs to be said clearly, calmly. And without any ambiguity, if magnesium glycinate has made you feel worse instead of better, this is not your fault. Not even a little. You didn't misunderstand instructions. You didn't mess something up. You're not weak, overly sensitive, or imagining things. And you didn't fail at taking a supplement that everyone else tolerates just fine. This matters, because one of the most damaging things people experience when a health routine backfires is self-blame. You start asking yourself questions like, why does this work for everyone else but not me? Is there something wrong with my body? Am I just anxious by nature? Maybe I'm overthinking it. That internal questioning slowly erodes trust not just in supplements, but in your own body's signals. And that's a problem, because your body is not betraying you. It's communicating with you. Many people who experience negative reactions to magnesium glycinate describe the same confusing emotional journey. At first, there's optimism. You read that magnesium supports relaxation, sleep, muscle recovery, and nervous system balance. You take it with good intentions. You expect subtle calm, maybe deeper rest. Then something unexpected happens. Instead of winding down, your body feels oddly alert. Instead of drifting into sleep, your mind feels busy. Instead of easing tension, you notice fluttering sensations, restlessness, or a sense that your nervous system is on edge. At first, you dismiss it. You tell yourself, it's probably stress. Maybe I just had a busy day. I'll give it more time. And so you keep taking it. Night after night, you wait for the benefits to appear. But instead, you begin to dread bedtime. You lie awake, staring at the ceiling, listening to your heartbeat, wondering why something meant to calm you seems to be doing the opposite. This is where the emotional weight really sets in, because magnesium glycinate is widely described as gentle, and while many people never suspect it could be involved in the problem. When symptoms continue, they assume the issue must be internal, something personal, something flawed. That assumption is not only wrong, it's unfair. Your body isn't broken, your nervous system isn't defective, and you're not failing at wellness. What's actually happening is far more logical and far less personal. Your body is responding exactly as it should when it doesn't receive what it's expecting. Think about it this way. When you take magnesium glycinate, your body prepares for a calming signal. Your muscles, nerves, and brain are essentially waiting for a message that says, it's safe to relax now. But when that message never arrives, because the magnesium never gets absorbed properly, the body doesn't stay neutral. It becomes alert. Uncertainty inside the nervous system often translates into anxiety-like symptoms. A missing calming signal can feel just as destabilizing as an external stressor. Your body isn't panicking without reason. It's responding to an unmet expectation. And that's why so many people describe the experience as deeply unsettling rather than simply uncomfortable. It feels confusing. It feels contradictory. It feels like the opposite of what you were promised. Now here's something else that rarely gets acknowledged. Many people who turn to magnesium glycinate are already dealing with stress, poor sleep, muscle tension, or nervous system overload. They're not starting from a perfectly calm baseline. That means their bodies are already sensitive to changes. So when magnesium doesn't arrive, where it's needed, when it gets blocked, delayed, or neutralized, the nervous system doesn't shrug it off. It reacts strongly because it was counting on that support. This reaction is not weakness. It's responsiveness. Unfortunately, because supplements are often marketed as simple and universally safe, there's very little public conversation about how context changes outcomes. People are told what to take, but not how to integrate it into a real, complex daily routine, and when things go wrong, they're left alone with their confusion. That's why this video matters. Not to tell you that you did something foolish, but to tell you that you are missing information that almost no one provides. Information about timing, about interactions, about how healthy habits can unintentionally cancel each other out. Once you understand that, the emotional tone of this entire experience changes. Instead of, what's wrong with me? The question becomes, what's interfering with the process? That shift from self-blame to system awareness is incredibly empowering, because systems can be adjusted. Nothing about what you're experiencing means you can't benefit from magnesium. It simply means the conditions weren't right for it to do its job. And here's an important reassurance. Nothing permanent has been damaged. You haven't messed up your nervous system. You haven't made things worse forever. What you're experiencing is reversible once the underlying issue is addressed. Before we move on, let me say this directly, especially if you've felt dismissed before. If magnesium glycinate made you feel anxious, restless, or unwell, your experience is valid. You don't need to minimize it, rationalize it away, or push through it out of guilt or confusion. Your body was giving you feedback, and now, instead of ignoring that feedback or blaming yourself for it, you're learning how to interpret it correctly. In the next part, we're going to talk about why magnesium's gentle reputation can actually set people up for problems, and how that false sense of safety quietly leads to the exact mistake that causes all this confusion in the first place. Once you see that pattern, you'll understand why so many people have the same experience, and why the solution is far simpler than you may have been led to believe. Everything up to this point leads us to one quiet but powerful misunderstanding, a misunderstanding that sits at the center of almost every negative experience people have with magnesium glycinate. And it starts with a single word: gentle. Magnesium glycinate is constantly described as gentle, well tolerated, easy on the stomach, and safe for daily use. On the surface, none of this is false. Compared to other forms of magnesium, glycinate truly is less likely to cause diarrhea or immediate digestive upset. It is often better absorbed than harsher forms, and for many people, it works beautifully. But here's where the problem begins. When something is labeled gentle, our brains subconsciously translate that word into a much stronger belief. This doesn't require caution. We stop treating it like a biologically active substance. We stop respecting timing. We stop thinking about interactions. We stop asking questions. And that mental shift, that quiet lowering of our guard, is what creates the conditions for trouble. Think about how differently people approach prescription medications. Even a mild prescription comes with warnings, timing instructions, interaction lists, and a general sense of seriousness. People read labels. They space doses. They ask pharmacists questions. Supplements, on the other hand, live in a completely different psychological category. They're sold next to vitamins. They're marketed with words like natural and supportive. They're discussed casually in blogs, videos, and social media posts, so magnesium glycinate gets lumped into the mental category of can't really hurt. And once that happens, people begin stacking it into already crowded routines without realizing they're creating internal conflicts. This is especially common among people who are health conscious. Ironically, the more healthy your routine looks on paper, the more likely this mistake becomes. Why? Because health conscious people tend to eat high-fiber diets, consume lots of leafy greens, use multiple supplements, drink tea, coffee, or herbal infusions, regularly take calcium or bone support formulas, follow structured evening routines. Of these habits are healthy on their own. But when magnesium glycinate is dropped into the middle of all that without spacing, without consideration, without context, it can get completely overshadowed. And here's the key concept most people never hear explained. Magnesium does not force its way into your system. It doesn't push past competitors. It doesn't override blockages. It doesn't win just because you swallowed a capsule. It plays by the rules of absorption. Those rules are governed by competition with other minerals, binding compounds in foods, digestive timing, hydration, status, gut environment. When those rules aren't respected, magnesium doesn't become dangerous. It becomes ineffective and disruptive. This is where the paradox begins. You take magnesium, expecting calm. Your body prepares for calm, but the magnesium never reaches its destination. That mismatched expectation without delivery creates internal tension, and because the supplement has such a strong calming reputation, people don't suspect it. They keep taking it. They keep layering it into the same routine, night after night, wondering why things feel off. Let's talk about how subtle this can be. Many people don't experience immediate dramatic symptoms. Instead, they notice sleep that feels lighter instead of deeper, waking up more easily at night, a vague sense of restlessness, a nervous, buzzy feeling in the chest, digestive discomfort that wasn't there before. Because these changes are subtle, they're easy to dismiss. People tell themselves, it's probably stress, maybe, I'm just sensitive lately. It can't be the magnesium that's supposed to help. And so the cycle continues. The supplement becomes a constant background variable that no one questions. This is why the gentle label is such a double-edged sword. It's accurate in one sense. Magnesium glycinate is generally easier on the body than many alternatives, but it's misleading in another sense, because gentle does not mean unconditional. Even gentle things can cause problems when the conditions are wrong. Think about sunlight. Sunlight is essential. It regulates circadian rhythm, supports vitamin D production, and improves mood. But too much sunlight at the wrong time can disrupt sleep, irritate the skin, and throw biological rhythms off balance. The sunlight didn't change. The timing did. Magnesium works the same way. Another layer to this false safety trap is assumed universality. Because magnesium glycinate works well for many people, it gets talked about as if it works the same way for everyone. That creates a quiet pressure to push through discomfort. People think, if this is helping so many others, maybe I just need to give it more time. But discomfort is not a requirement for benefit. Your body doesn't need to adjust to feeling worse. When magnesium is working correctly, the experience is usually subtle, steady, and supportive, not dramatic or distressing. So if something feels wrong, that feeling deserves attention. The problem is that the supplement industry rarely talks about how to take things, only what to take. Timing, spacing, and interaction details are often treated as optional fine print rather than essential instructions. And when information is missing, people fill in the gaps with assumptions. The biggest assumption being, if it's gentle, it doesn't matter when I take it. That assumption is the root of the mistake we're building toward. In the next module, we're going to move from psychology to mechanics. We'll look at what actually happens inside the body when magnesium glycinate enters a system that's already full of competing elements. Once you see that process clearly, the confusion around symptoms, timing, and nighttime reactions will finally make sense, and the solution will start to feel obvious instead of overwhelming. Now that you understand why the gentle label can quietly lower our guard, it's time to look at what's actually happening inside your body. When magnesium glycinate is taken under the wrong conditions, this is where everything finally clicks, because the issue is not belief, mindset, or sensitivity. The issue is physics and biochemistry. Your digestive system is not an open highway, where every nutrient you swallow automatically arrives at its destination. It's more like a crowded border crossing with limited checkpoints, strict rules, and intense competition. Magnesium must pass through very specific absorption pathways in your small intestine to reach your bloodstream. These pathways are limited, they are not endless, and they are not reserved just for magnesium. This is the part most people never hear. Magnesium does not travel alone. At the moment you swallow that capsule, your digestive tract may already be busy processing fiber from grains, vegetables, and legumes, calcium from food or supplements, iron, zinc, or other minerals compounds like oxalates and phytates, caffeine residues from coffee or tea, medications taken earlier in the day. All of these substances interact, and they do not politely take turns. Let's start with competition, because this is one of the biggest problems. Minerals like magnesium and calcium use overlapping absorption channels. When both are present at the same time, calcium usually wins. It has stronger binding affinity and more aggressive transport mechanisms. So if you take magnesium glycinate alongside dairy, calcium-fortified foods, or a calcium supplement, especially in the evening, magnesium doesn't get absorbed efficiently, it's not destroyed. It's not harmful on its own, it's simply left behind. Now let's add binding compounds into the picture. Foods that are otherwise incredibly healthy. Spinach, nuts, seeds, whole grains, legumes contain substances called oxalates and phytates. These compounds bind to minerals like magnesium and form complexes that the body struggles to absorb. Think of oxalates and phytates like handcuffs. Once magnesium is bound to them, it can't pass through the intestinal wall properly. It stays trapped in the digestive tract instead of entering circulation. This is why people who eat very nutrient-dense, plant-heavy diets are often the most confused when supplements don't work as expected. Their diets are healthy, but timing matters more than most. Advice acknowledges. Next, we need to talk about fiber, because fiber plays a dual role. Fiber is excellent for gut health. It feeds beneficial bacteria and supports regular digestion. But high amounts of fiber also speed up intestinal transit time. When magnesium moves through the gut too quickly, it doesn't have enough contact time with the intestinal lining to be absorbed effectively. So if magnesium is taken with a large, fiber-rich meal, it may simply be rushed through the system before absorption can occur. Now here's where things start to feel uncomfortable. When magnesium is unabsorbed, it doesn't just disappear quietly. Unabsorbed magnesium can draw water into the intestines, alter gut motility, and irritate the intestinal lining, especially when concentrated in one area. This irritation doesn't always cause obvious diarrhea. Sometimes it causes subtle discomfort, bloating, or a vague feeling that something isn't right. And here's the key connection most people miss. While this is happening in the gut, your nervous system is waiting. Your muscles, nerves, and brain were expecting magnesium to arrive. Magnesium plays a crucial role in calming nerve signaling, regulating muscle contraction, and supporting parasympathetic rest and digest activity. When that calming input doesn't show up, the nervous system doesn't stay neutral, it becomes alert. This is where symptoms like restlessness, internal tension, and anxiety-like sensations can begin. Not because magnesium is overstimulating you, but because it failed to deliver the calming signal your body was anticipating. It's similar to what happens when your body expects sleep but doesn't get it. The mismatch itself becomes stressful. Now let's add timing into this equation. Many people take magnesium at night, which makes sense in theory, but nighttime digestion is already slower. The gut is transitioning into rest mode. Blood flow to the digestive system decreases compared to daytime. If magnesium is taken late, with a heavy dinner, alongside other supplements, and without adequate hydration, absorption becomes even more difficult. So what you end up with is this paradoxical situation. Magnesium is present in your digestive tract, but it is not present where your nervous system needs it. Your body senses imbalance and responds with vigilance rather than calm. This is why the symptoms often peak at night, not because magnesium is stimulating, but because your body expected support and didn't receive it. Another important factor is hydration. Magnesium absorption depends on adequate fluid in the digestive tract. Mild dehydration, which is extremely common in the evening, reduces absorption efficiency. So if you take magnesium without enough water, especially after a long day, the odds of poor absorption increase further. At this point, you can see how this becomes a perfect storm. None of these factors alone are dramatic, but together, they create an invisible blockade. The supplement enters, the body prepares, the signal never arrives, and the nervous system reacts. This is not a failure of magnesium, and it is not a failure of your body. It is a timing and interaction issue, one that almost no one explains clearly. In the next module, we're going to zoom out and walk through a full healthy day that many people follow, step by step, and show exactly how these interactions stack up, without anyone realizing it. Once you see that daily pattern laid out, you'll understand why this mistake is so common, and why fixing it doesn't require giving up magnesium or healthy foods at all. To truly understand how common this mistake is, we need to stop thinking in isolated moments and start looking at the full rhythm of a normal day. Because the problem rarely comes from one bad choice. It comes from a series of good choices that unintentionally collide. So let's walk through a day that looks responsible, informed, and healthy by almost every modern standard. This is the kind of routine people feel proud of, the kind doctors generally encourage, the kind wellness blogs praise. And yet, for magnesium absorption, it quietly creates the perfect storm. Morning. A smart start. The day begins with the best intentions. Breakfast might look like a bowl of oatmeal topped with almonds, chia seeds, or flax, maybe a banana or berries, a cup of coffee, green tea, or black tea on paper. This is an excellent breakfast. High fiber, plant-based nutrients, antioxidants, slow-digesting carbs. But from magnesium's perspective, this sets the tone for the entire day. Oats and seeds are rich in fiber. Almonds contain oxalates. Coffee and tea introduce caffeine and polyphenols that can interfere with mineral absorption for hours. Afterward, none of this is bad, but it matters later. Midday, nutrient density overload. Lunch often looks even healthier. A large salad, spinach or mixed greens, chickpeas or lentils, nuts or seeds, whole grains like quinoa or brown rice. This is the kind of meal people associate with longevity and heart health, and rightly so. But this meal is extremely high in fiber oxalates, phytosol, of which are known to bind minerals and reduce absorption efficiency. Again, nothing wrong with the meal itself. The issue isn't what you're eating. It's when magnesium enters the picture later on. Afternoon, silent interferences. The day goes on. Many people have another cup of coffee or tea, an herbal infusion, a snack with nuts or whole grains by now. The digestive tract has been exposed to a continuous stream of compounds that either compete with or bind minerals. This matters because mineral absorption isn't limited to the moment you swallow a supplement. The gut environment stays influenced for hours. By evening, your digestive system is not neutral. It's already busy, saturated, and competitive. Evening, where intentions and reality collide. Dinner is usually balanced and sensible. Vegetables, a protein source, maybe some grains, sometimes dairy, yogurt, cheese or milk. Then comes the evening routine. This is where magnesium usually enters the story. After dinner, often close to bedtime, you'll take magnesium glycinate for sleep and relaxation, possibly calcium, or a bone support supplement, maybe other vitamins or medications from the outside. This looks like a well-planned routine. But internally, this is where the collision happens. At this moment, the gut is already processing fiber and binding compounds. Calcium is competing aggressively for absorption. Digestion is slowing as the body prepares for sleep. Hydration levels are often low after a long day. Magnesium arrives late to an already crowded system. It doesn't get priority access. It doesn't get a clear path. It gets stuck in traffic. Why this feels so confusing? This is why people struggle to identify the cause. Nothing in this day looks wrong. In fact, everything looks right. So when symptoms appear, restless sleep, nighttime anxiety, digestive discomfort, or a racing heart, magnesium is rarely blamed. People think it must be stress. Maybe I'm sensitive to caffeine. Maybe my sleep is just getting worse with age. Magnesium feels like the solution, not the suspect. And because the reaction often happens hours after taking it, the connection is easy to miss. You don't feel bad immediately. You feel bad at 2 or 3 a.m. when your nervous system expected calm and didn't get it. The hidden pattern. Here's the pattern that shows up again and again. People who eat low, highly processed diets often tolerate magnesium better by accident. People who eat plant-heavy diets often struggle. More people who stack supplements experience more unpredictable results. This doesn't mean healthy eating is the problem. It means timing is everything. Magnesium needs a window, a quiet moment where it doesn't have to fight. Most people never give it that window. Instead, they place it at the busiest intersection of the day, after dinner, with other supplements, right before bed. And then they wonder why the promised calm never arrives. The emotional impact of this pattern. This is where frustration turns into discouragement. People begin to think, maybe supplements don't work for me. Maybe my body is too messed up. Maybe nothing will help my sleep. That emotional toll matters because the truth is far more hopeful. You don't need to give up healthy foods. You don't need to quit magnesium forever. You don't need to overhaul your life. You simply need to stop forcing magnesium into a crowded schedule. In the next module, we're going to zoom in even further and look at what happens at night, why symptoms peak when they do, and why the nervous system reacts so strongly when magnesium doesn't arrive on time. Once you understand that nighttime reaction, the entire experience will stop feeling random and start feeling logical. Now that we've walked through a full, healthy day and seen how magnesium glycinate quietly struggles to be absorbed, it's time to dive deep into the night, the moment when many people notice the symptoms most vividly. If you've ever lain awake at 2 or 3 a.m., heart racing, mind spinning, or legs twitching uncontrollably, you're witnessing the exact consequences of what happens when magnesium never arrives where it's supposed to be. The nighttime paradox. Magnesium is often taken at night because it is known for promoting relaxation. It's supposed to quiet the nervous system, reduce muscle tension, and help you drift into sleep. But here's the paradox. When magnesium is blocked or delayed in absorption, your body experiences the absence of a signal it was counting on. Think about it. Your nervous system doesn't differentiate between a lack of magnesium and a threat. If the calming signal doesn't arrive, it reacts with alertness, agitation, and increased heart rate. This is not imagination, it's a biochemical response. It's as if you ordered a peaceful evening but got a flood of noise and chaos instead. How the gut disruptions amplify symptoms that isn't absorbed doesn't just sit quietly. It interacts with your gut in ways that can create subtle irritation. Osmotic effects. Magnesium attracts water. If it remains unabsorbed in the intestines, it can draw water into the bowel. This may cause bloating, mild cramping, or irregular bowel sensations. Mineral imbalance feedback. Magnesium works in delicate balance with calcium, potassium, and sodium. If magnesium can't enter the bloodstream, these systems experience a temporary imbalance, which can lead to nerve excitability, muscle twitching, or restless legs. Gut microbiome signaling. Unabsorbed magnesium changes the gut environment, sometimes triggering mild inflammatory signals. Your gut and brain are connected via the gut-brain axis, which means subtle changes can influence nervous system activity, making you feel more restless or alert. These gut-level disruptions, combined with blocked absorption, create a cascade effect. The body was expecting calm, but instead it experiences physiological agitation. Why symptoms often peak at night? There's a reason many people only notice these effects in the middle of the night. During the day, external stimuli work, light, movement, mask the nervous system's internal signals. You might feel a little off, but it blends with everything else happening. At night, the external noise quiets. Your body's baseline regulation becomes more noticeable. Any imbalance or unmet expectation, like missing magnesium signals, is amplified. Sleep is regulated by the parasympathetic nervous system, which relies on magnesium for proper signaling. When magnesium is absent, the system misfires, leading to racing thoughts, increased heart rate, muscle twitching, or cramps, restlessness, or anxiety. This is why the night becomes the perfect diagnostic moment. Your body is telling you something is off, but most people don't recognize the connection to magnesium. Timing, role of timing and competing nutrients. Everything we discussed in the previous module, here's how it converges at night. Fiber from earlier meals may have already swept magnesium through your digestive system too quickly. Oxalates and phytates from plants bind magnesium and prevent absorption. Calcium or other mineral supplements compete for the same absorption channels. Mild dehydration reduces magnesium's ability to pass through the intestinal lining. By the time your magnesium reaches your gut, it's too late or partially blocked. The system is jammed. The magnesium is physically present, but physiologically absent. It's like sending an important message that never arrives. The body is waiting, confused, and stressed. How the body interprets this absence. Your nervous system is highly sensitive to magnesium levels because magnesium regulates NMDA receptors, neurotransmitter release, and muscle relaxation pathways. But without it, your heart can beat faster because magnesium isn't there to help regulate electrical signals. Your muscles may twitch or feel tense because magnesium is a natural muscle relaxant. Your mind can feel racing or restless because the calming neurotransmitters that rely on magnesium are underperforming. The very symptoms magnesium is supposed to prevent agitation, insomnia, restless legs, racing heart, are amplified precisely because magnesium never arrived at the cellular level. This is not your fault. It is not a defect in your body. It is a timing and interaction problem. Why most people never connect the dots. The symptoms are so confusing because they happen hours after ingestion. They overlap with stress, lifestyle factors, and natural nighttime wakefulness. Magnesium is marketed as universally safe and gentle, so it's rarely suspected. People rarely track their supplement timing against meals and other nutrients. The result is a sense of randomness, making magnesium appear ineffective or worse, activating instead of calming. But once you understand the sequence of events, meals, supplements, timing, gut dynamics, nervous system expectations, it all becomes logical. You start to see why so many people experience these paradoxical reactions. What you should take away: in nighttime symptoms are your body's way of communicating. Magnesium didn't reach the cells that needed it. Your nervous system is reacting to the missing signal. The solution isn't quitting magnesium or blaming your body. The solution is adjusting timing, spacing, and interactions. In the next module, we'll reveal the core mistake almost everyone makes with magnesium glycinate. The single most important thing you need to know to finally get the benefits you were expecting. Once you understand that, you'll be empowered to turn nights of restlessness into nights of deep, restorative calm. By now, you've seen the full picture: a healthy day full of good intentions, a supplement that promises calm, and a nighttime reality that feels anything but. So let's cut to the chase and reveal the single most common mistake people make with magnesium glycinate. The mistake that quietly undoes all of the benefits they expect. It's simple, yet surprisingly overlooked. The core mistake is taking magnesium glycinate at the same time as foods or supplements that block its absorption. At first glance, that sounds almost too simple to matter, but in practice, this mistake is everywhere, and its consequences are far-reaching. Understanding mineral competition: magnesium shares absorption pathways with several other minerals, including calcium, iron, and zinc. These minerals compete for entry into the bloodstream. When you take magnesium alongside a calcium-rich meal or a calcium supplement, calcium often wins the race. Magnesium is left behind, unabsorbed, lingering in the gut, and unable to deliver its calming effects. This is why so many people notice that magnesium seems ineffective if taken with dairy products, calcium-fortified foods, or bone support supplements. The role of plant compounds: then there are oxalates and phytates, compounds found in some of the healthiest foods around. Spinach, almonds, legumes, whole grains, and nuts. These compounds act like molecular handcuffs, binding to magnesium and preventing it from being absorbed. Imagine taking a magnesium pill and sending it on a journey through your digestive system, only for it to get caught up in a complex web of fiber, oxalates, phytates, and competing minerals. The message never reaches the nervous system. Your body expects relaxation and gets confusion instead. Fiber and transit time: fiber is essential for a healthy gut, but it can also speed up intestinal transit. Magnesium needs time in contact with the intestinal lining to be absorbed efficiently. High fiber intake right before or with magnesium can push it through too quickly, reducing absorption and setting the stage for nighttime restlessness. Even water intake matters. Mild dehydration slows the transit and absorption process, compounding the issue. By the time magnesium is finally absorbed, if it is absorbed at all, your body's nervous system may already be signaling alertness. Timing. The invisible factor: the mistake isn't just what you eat, it's when you take magnesium relative to those meals or other supplements. People naturally assume that magnesium can be taken anytime, without thought to timing, but the reality is starkly different. Take it too close to calcium-rich foods or supplements gives absorption drops significantly. Take it with high oxalate or high phytate foods gives absorption drops significantly. Take it when dehydrated or alongside caffeine gives absorption efficiency decreases. Take a large dose all at once gives the body struggles to process it. Even small timing errors can create significant physiological consequences. This explains why people often report feeling jittery, restless, or anxious, even though magnesium is supposed to calm the nervous system. Why this mistake feels so confusing? Here's the tricky part. The mistake doesn't produce immediate obvious signals. Instead, it creates delayed and paradoxical reactions. Sleep disturbances that only appear a few hours after ingestion, restless legs, muscle twitching, or leg cramps at night, heart palpitations, or mild anxiety when your body was expecting calm. Digestive discomfort that seems unrelated to the supplement because magnesium is marketed as gentle and universally safe. People rarely suspect it. Instead, they blame stress, poor sleep habits, or age-related changes, none of which are directly responsible for the acute nighttime symptoms. The domino effect of secondary mistakes: once the core mistake occurs, other seemingly minor mistakes amplify it. Taking one huge dose at night, this overwhelms the absorption pathways and increases unabsorbed magnesium in the gut. Combining magnesium with caffeine, alcohol, or carbonated beverages, these beverages can flush minerals or disrupt gut transit. Stacking with multiple supplements or medications, silent competition at the cellular level is intensified. Ignoring hydration: without sufficient water, absorption slows further, leaving magnesium stranded in the digestive tract. All of these factors compound the problem. That's why some people report severe nighttime reactions while others experience only mild discomfort. The combination of lifestyle, diet, and timing matters more than any single factor. The emotional impact of the core mistake: because magnesium is supposed to be gentle, many people experience confusion and self-doubt. They think, I must be too sensitive. Maybe magnesium just doesn't work for me. I'm doing everything right, so why does it feel worse? These feelings are normal, but they are rooted in misinformation. The problem isn't your body, it's the timing and combination mistake that prevents magnesium from doing its job. Why? Understanding this core mistake is empowering. Here's the silver lining. Once you understand the core mistake, everything changes. Awareness gives you control. You can take magnesium glycinate in a way that ensures absorption and support. You can prevent nighttime anxiety, restlessness, and heart palpitations caused by mistimed intake. And here's the most important insight. Fixing this mistake doesn't require giving up magnesium or changing your diet dramatically. It only requires understanding how to respect absorption windows, spacing, and interactions. In the next module, we'll explore the specific biological consequences of this mistake. What happens at the cellular level when magnesium is blocked, and why your body reacts so strongly to something that should feel calming. By the end of that module, you'll see that the symptoms you've been experiencing aren't random. They're a logical, predictable response, and the solution is simple, once you know the rules. Now that you know the core mistake taking magnesium glycinate, alongside foods and supplements that block its absorption, let's dive into why your body reacts so strongly when this happens. This is where the symptoms that feel random, intense, or even frightening actually make perfect sense. Magnesium doesn't just sit in the gut. It is an active participant in countless cellular processes, especially in the nervous system, muscles, and heart. When it is blocked, the body doesn't remain calm. Instead, it goes into alert mode. Magnesium's role in the nervous system: magnesium regulates nerve excitability. It acts as a natural brake on overactive neurons by regulating NMDA receptors, calcium channels, and neurotransmitter release. Essentially, magnesium is a biochemical signal that says, it's safe to relax now. When magnesium is present and absorbed properly, your nervous system receives this calming message. Heart rate slows, muscles loosen, and stress response diminishes. But when magnesium is blocked, trapped in the gut, bound to oxalates or outcompeted by calcium, that signal never reaches its destination. Imagine trying to call a friend on a cell phone, but the network is jammed. The call never goes through, and your friend is left waiting for the message. Your body is experiencing the same thing at the cellular level. Your nervous system was expecting a calm signal, but instead it receives silence. The cellular traffic jam absorption happens in the small intestine. Magnesium, calcium, and other minerals compete for the same transport pathways. They all share limited cellular doors into your bloodstream. Calcium takes priority. Calcium has higher affinity for these channels. When calcium is present in the gut, magnesium often loses its chance to pass through. Fiber and plant compounds slow or bind magnesium. Phytates and oxalates form complexes with magnesium, physically preventing absorption. Large doses overwhelm the system. Taking a full night dose all at once creates a backup, leaving magnesium stuck in the gut. The result is a cellular level traffic jam. Magnesium is present in the intestines, but it cannot reach the cells that need it. It is physically there, but biologically absent. How the body perceives the absence here? Body interprets this absence as a form of stress. Nerve cells, muscles, and the heart rely on magnesium to function optimally. When it's missing, muscles may twitch or cramp. Without magnesium, muscle relaxation is incomplete. Nervous system becomes hyperactive. Neurons fire excessively without magnesium's calming effect. Heart rhythm can feel irregular. Magnesium regulates electrical signaling in the heart. Its absence can trigger palpitations or racing heart sensations. The fascinating and confusing part is that this response is proportional to the demand. If your nervous system is already stressed, perhaps from work, caffeine, or other daily pressures, the absence of magnesium creates a disproportionately strong reaction. This is why symptoms feel more severe than you might expect from just a supplement. Nighttime amplification: these reactions are often most noticeable at night because the body naturally expects to relax. The parasympathetic nervous system, which governs rest, relies on magnesium to send calming signals. When magnesium is blocked, the nervous system is ready for rest but cannot get the message to relax. Heart rate may increase slightly, muscles may twitch, and the mind may feel alert. Sleep cycles become disrupted, leading to lighter sleep, multiple awakenings, and a feeling of fatigue even after a full night. The timing makes everything more apparent. During the day, external stimuli mask these subtle misfires. At night, silence and reduced activity amplify the symptoms. The feedback loop blocked magnesium creates a feedback loop that intensifies the problem. Magnesium is blocked and not absorbed. Nervous system senses absence, gives increased alertness. Stress response activates, gives cortisol and adrenaline rise slightly. Muscles remain tense, heart rate rises, mind races. Sleep is disturbed, gives body doesn't recover overnight. Next day magnesium may be taken again, under the same conditions, gives cycle repeats. This is why many people feel like magnesium is making them worse instead of better. Secondary factors that amplify reactions: the core traffic jam becomes worse with minor, often overlooked habits. Dehydration, low fluid reduces absorption efficiency and slows intestinal transport. Caffeine or alcohol, both can alter mineral balance and reduce magnesium's effectiveness. Large single doses overwhelms absorption capacity. Concurrent medications or other supplements create silent competition at the cellular level. Even small missteps combine with the core mistake to produce surprisingly strong reactions. Understanding this mechanism empowers you. Here's the critical takeaway: the problem isn't you, it's the timing and absorption environment. Once you know this, the solution is straightforward. Separate magnesium from blocking foods and supplements. Take it at the right time, stay hydrated, consider smaller, split doses if needed. Understanding the cellular traffic jam explains everything. Restless nights, racing heart, muscle tension, and anxiety-like symptoms all occur because magnesium never reached the places it needed to be. Not because the supplement is bad, and not because your body is weak. In the next module, we'll cover the exact secondary mistakes that worsen magnesium absorption, and why even small missteps can prevent you from feeling calm, relaxed, and rested, the very benefits magnesium is supposed to provide. Now that we've explored the core mistake, taking magnesium glycinate alongside foods and supplements that block its absorption, it's time to examine the secondary mistakes. These are the smaller, often overlooked habits that amplify the problem, creating stronger symptoms and making magnesium feel ineffective or even disruptive. Understanding these will give you complete control over how magnesium works for you. 1. Taking one large dose all at night. Many people think, I'll take my full daily dose of magnesium right before bed to maximize relaxation. On the surface, this seems logical. You want calm when you sleep, but here's the issue. Your body has limited absorption capacity at any given time. The small intestine can only absorb so much magnesium before the excess remains unabsorbed. When you dump an entire dose at night, the unabsorbed magnesium lingers in the gut, potentially causing mild irritation. The nervous system doesn't receive the full calming signal. You may wake up at 2 or 3 a.m. feeling restless, anxious, or with muscle twitches. Smaller, split doses, for example, half in the morning and half in the evening, give your body the chance to absorb magnesium more efficiently, creating steady, predictable calm rather than an overwhelming backlog. 2. Combining magnesium with calcium or dairy. Calcium is the most notorious competitor for magnesium absorption. Calcium and magnesium share similar transport pathways in the intestines. If calcium is present in high amounts from supplements, milk, cheese, yogurt, or calcium-fortified foods, it will often outcompete magnesium. This competition reduces magnesium uptake dramatically. You may feel as if the supplement is doing nothing, or worse, that it is causing restlessness and mild gut discomfort, since magnesium remains trapped in the intestines. 3. Ignoring hydration. Water isn't just essential for life, it's essential for magnesium absorption. Magnesium relies on sufficient fluid in the digestive tract to move through the gut and into the bloodstream. Even mild dehydration, something as simple as a busy workday, or forgetting to drink water after dinner, can slow absorption, reduce the effectiveness of the dose, contribute to constipation or gut irritation if magnesium remains concentrated in the intestines. Simple fix is to drink a glass of room temperature water about 30 minutes before taking magnesium. This prepares your digestive system for smooth absorption. 4. Drinking caffeine or alcohol too close to magnesium. Coffee, tea, and alcohol are more than just beverages. They influence mineral absorption. Caffeine can increase urinary excretion of magnesium and reduce gut absorption temporarily. Alcohol interferes with magnesium transport and can contribute to dehydration. Taking magnesium too close to these drinks can create silent competition, reducing the amount that reaches your cells. Over time, this can lead to chronic subtle deficits, leaving you feeling restless, anxious, or underslept despite supplementation. 5. Stacking multiple supplements or medications. Another common mistake is taking multiple supplements simultaneously without considering interactions. Zinc, iron, or other minerals may compete for absorption pathways. Some medications combine or alter magnesium's effectiveness. Even natural compounds like fiber powders, herbal teas, or protein shakes can reduce magnesium uptake if taken at the same time. These interactions are rarely obvious, which is why people often blame the supplement itself rather than timing and combination. Error 6. Ignoring meal timing. Many people take magnesium right after a full meal or alongside high-fiber snacks, thinking this will help with digestive comfort. While food can buffer mild gastrointestinal irritation, it can also block absorption, especially if the meal includes leafy greens high in oxalates, nuts and seeds high in phytates, whole grains, fiber and phytates. The result? Magnesium never reaches the bloodstream efficiently. You feel the opposite of the intended effect. Tension instead of relaxation. Restless legs instead of calm muscles. Racing thoughts instead of mental quiet. 7. Believing more is better. More magnesium is not always better. Overloading the system can create a backlog in the intestines, leading to discomfort and reduced uptake. Many people increase their dose thinking it will improve results, but it often worsens the problem. Rule of thumb: smaller, spaced doses are more effective than one large dose, and give your body consistent support without creating gut traffic jams. 8. Failing to track symptoms. One of the biggest mistakes is not tracking when and how you take magnesium and how your body responds. Many people assume that if magnesium isn't immediately effective, it's not working at all. In reality, your symptoms may be delayed. They may peak at night. They may vary depending on meal composition and other supplements. Keeping a simple log of your intake, meal timing, and nightly symptoms allows you to pinpoint the mistakes and correct them, rather than guessing blindly. The cumulative effect toll of these secondary mistakes may seem minor individually, but together they magnify the core mistake. What starts as a timing issue becomes a full-scale absorption problem. This is why some people report extreme restlessness, heart palpitations, or anxiety, while others feel subtle discomfort. Small differences in hydration, timing, and food interactions can make a huge difference. Understanding these secondary mistakes gives you control over magnesium's effectiveness. Once you eliminate or minimize them, magnesium glycinate works exactly as intended: calm muscles, restful sleep, and a relaxed nervous system. Next steps in the next module, we'll shift from understanding mistakes to actionable solutions. We'll cover how to take magnesium glycinate correctly, with step-by-step instructions that respect absorption rules, timing, hydration, and interactions. By following these guidelines, you can finally turn magnesium from a source of frustration into the reliable tool for calm, rest, and relaxation that it was always meant to be. Now that we've explored the core mistake and the secondary mistakes that sabotage magnesium glycinate, it's time to focus on the solution, the step-by-step approach that ensures your body absorbs magnesium efficiently and delivers the calming, restorative effects you've been expecting. This is where all the pieces come together. By understanding timing, dosage, hydration, and spacing, you can finally transform magnesium from a supplement that sometimes feels ineffective or even disruptive into a powerful ally for your sleep, nerves, and overall well-being. Step 1. Create a clear absorption window. The most important rule is spacing magnesium away from blockers. This includes calcium supplements or dairy high oxalate foods like spinach, beets, nuts, and seeds, high-phytate foods such as whole grains and legumes, iron or zinc supplements, caffeine, or alcohol. Goal is to give magnesium a quiet window to be absorbed. Ideally, take magnesium 2 to 3 hours after a meal containing these blockers. Take magnesium 2 to 4 hours away from calcium supplements or high-calcium foods. This simple adjustment dramatically increases absorption, reduces gut irritation, and ensures the calming signal reaches your muscles, heart, and nervous system. Step 2. Hydrate before you take it. Magnesium requires adequate fluid to move through the intestines and into the bloodstream. Even mild dehydration reduces absorption efficiency. Drink a glass of room temperature water about 20 to 30 minutes before your magnesium dose. Avoid carbonated beverages or coffee, tea, immediately before or after, as these can alter mineral uptake. Hydration alone can make the difference between magnesium feeling effective or leaving you restless at night. Step 3. Consider dose splitting instead of taking a single large dose at night. Split your daily intake: half in the morning away from breakfast blockers, half in the evening 2 to 3 hours after dinner or blockers. This approach prevents overwhelming your gut's absorption pathways, reduces the chance of unabsorbed magnesium causing digestive discomfort, maintains steady magnesium levels throughout the day for consistent nervous system support. Split dosing is one of the most underutilized strategies and dramatically improves results. Step 4. Pair with minimal food for maximum absorption. Magnesium glycinate is gentle on the stomach, so it can be taken on an empty stomach if tolerated. This ensures minimal competition for absorption. If a completely empty stomach causes discomfort, pair it with a very small low-fiber snack, like a few plain crackers, a small slice of toast, a handful of plain rice cakes. The key is to avoid high-fiber or mineral-rich foods that could block absorption. Step 5. Time. Its strategically timing is critical to ensure magnesium supports your body's natural rhythm. Morning dose supports nerve, muscle, and cardiovascular function throughout the day. Evening dose supports relaxation, sleep onset, and parasympathetic nervous system activity. By syncing magnesium intake with your body's natural needs, you maximize its benefits and prevent the nighttime restlessness caused by blocked absorption. Step 6. Avoid interfering substances. Around your dose, be mindful of substances that silently reduce magnesium's effectiveness. Coffee or tea, wait at least 1 to 2 hours. Alcohol, wait at least 2 to 3 hours. High doses of zinc, iron, or calcium fiber supplements, or heavy fiber-rich meat. Small overlaps can reduce absorption efficiency and undermine the positive effects of magnesium. Step 7. Monitor your symptoms and adjust. Everyone's digestive system is unique, so it's important to observe how your body responds. Track sleep quality, heart rate, restlessness, and muscle tension. Adjust timing, hydration, and dose as needed. If digestive discomfort occurs, try splitting doses further or taking magnesium slightly earlier in the evening. By paying attention to your body's signals, you can fine-tune your magnesium regimen for optimal calm and restorative sleep. Step 8. Understand what success feels like when magnesium glycinate is absorbed correctly. Tension in your shoulders, neck, and jaw eases naturally. Restless legs and twitching diminish. Mind and body transition into sleep more easily. Heart rate stabilizes. You wake up feeling restored, not wired or groggy. These are the subtle but unmistakable signals that magnesium is finally doing its job. Step 9. Reinforce your knowledge and empowerment. By following these steps, You're no longer relying on trial and error or guessing. You are now aware of how magnesium works at a cellular level, attuned to the factors that block or enable absorption, equipped with a step-by-step plan to prevent restlessness and optimize calm. You've moved from passive supplementation to informed, intentional nutrient management, which is the key to lasting results. Step 10. Take action today. Don't wait for another restless night to connect the dots. Start by reviewing your current magnesium routine, identifying blockers in your meals, supplements, and lifestyle, adjusting timing, hydration, and dosing according to the guidelines above. Tracking your symptoms for a few days. Once implemented, you should begin to feel magnesium's benefits consistently: deeper sleep, relaxed muscles, and a calm, steady mind. Final thought: magnesium glycinate isn't broken. You aren't broken. The problem was how it was being delivered. By respecting absorption windows, hydration, dose splitting, and timing, you unlock the full potential of this gentle mineral. From this point forward, magnesium works with your body, not against it. Nights of restlessness become nights of true restorative sleep, and the calm you've been seeking is no longer elusive.